Yesterday somebody was rather observant. They were asking, I thought we only celebrated the Lord's feast on Sundays. Why are we celebrating All Saints? That's a good question, really. I'm sure most of you really know the answer already. What was it that Paul heard when he heard, Paul, why do you persecute me? What is it we hear in the second reading? We are children of God, yet what will we become? We don't know. There's only really one child of God, and that is Jesus. We are the body of Christ together, both those living on earth as well as those who have gone before us, in purgatory as well as in heaven. So all who belong to Christ are the body of Christ. And for many people, you might be the only Jesus they ever see. Today is really your feast day. We celebrate this day. If you look at Matthew's gospel, blessed are the poor. And sometimes I read that and I think, okay, it sounds like a stair-step thing. Blessed are the poor, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are those who seek righteousness. That sounds like very progressive. We keep talking about giving God some forward motion in our life, becoming the people that he calls us to be. But if we're not careful, we can very easily read that somehow as if we earn it, even though we're supposed to become more and more a reflection of Christ in the earth. But we can sound like we're trying to say, okay, I made this step, I made this step. And honestly, if I look at it, I've only made up maybe one or two steps. I don't see myself really suffering that much for the body of Christ, for the sake of Christ. Certainly not in this present age. So we say, what is this about? I'd like you to reflect on it maybe in a different way today. Because if you notice, Jesus went up on the mountain. Of course, Matthew's trying to show that he's really Moses going up on the mountain. But his apostles are the ones who come with him. And he sits down to give them a little lesson. And in working with them, you remember this is the same time as he talked about the gift of the Eucharist, at the same time that he multiplied the loaves and the fishes. And it's right before he begins that journey we've been looking at for the last several weeks in terms of heading towards Jerusalem, towards his own death. So it's kind of a last-minute huddle, if you will, with his apostles. So if you will, I think we can look at them as Jesus gathering with Peter, James, John, and saying, okay, guys, so how did you do when you went out 2 by 2? And some had good experiences, and obviously some might not have had good experiences. He said, if you don't get received, shake the dust from your feet. So he's kind of looking at Peter, and Peter said, Peter, blessed are you. Yeah, I saw what efforts you went through in trying to reconcile the Sadducees and the Pharisees. James, I saw you when you went to that town and you weren't well received and you shook the dust from your feet like I told you to. John, I know you're a reflection of love and you felt indignant when you saw this kind of a problem in that town and you wanted to do something about it. That he's looking at each of them, not as if all of them have every one of the virtues, but each one of them reflected some area of God's own love in the world. So while you're thinking about that, I'd like you to think about the fact that Jesus is also speaking to you. That Jesus is looking at you and saying, I saw how much effort you went through to get to church today. I saw how far you had to go. I saw how much fun it was trying to get all the kids ready. I saw what you did. I saw you young people when you maybe experienced some snide remark at school because you happen to be Catholic and you endured it well. I saw you. Blessed are you, because you continue to reflect my presence in the world. Blessed are you. And what is that blessed? One translation says happy. Oh, happy are those who are poor in spirit. And I think probably our young people think happy is more like last night going trick-or-treating. Happy is when I get 10 pounds of candy. But then you're not happy when you ate 5 pounds of it in an hour's time, are you? See, that kind of happiness kind of comes and goes. So Jesus is not talking about that sort of happiness. He's saying, blessed are you. Blessed are you because you know who you are. Blessed are you because you know you belong to me. You belong to God. You are a child of God. And knowing that, when we seek righteousness, it's talking about not self-righteousness, but a righteousness that says, hey, I'm right with God. God and I are walking this journey together. And so he looks at each of the apostles knowing that they're getting ready to take the long journey with him. He looks at each of us today. He looks at you. He says, blessed are you. I know what it's cost you to live your faith. Blessed are you because you have endured. Blessed are you because when you look and say, yeah, I tried hard and none of my kids are practicing faith. I know what that cost you. Blessed are you. Jesus today looks at you with love and says, you are blessed because you belong to me. You belong to the Father. Today, let's truly celebrate the gift of all saints, of which you and I are part of. We are indeed children of God, called to walk with Jesus and be with Jesus here on this earth and forever.